Okay, chapter 22, Imagery and Symbol. Allegory and parable is a major supporting detail of this chapter. Iconography would be an example from the book, and it is when you put a scepter or skull in a painting, the viewer is supposed to know what those objects represent. Like a skull can represent death, or doves can represent peace. And a good example my example would be from Jane Kenyon's poem, The Blue Bowl, on page 727. And the reader can interpret that blue would mean sadness, which the blue bowl, which means sadness because she buried the bowl with her cat. And also what she stated on lines 12 and 13. Silent the rest of the day, we worked, ate, stared, and slept. It portrays sadness because it gives it kind of an autopilot feel, and the whole poem you can feel sadness from all the symbols. And also another example would be on page 740, and it would be by Robert Bly, driving to town late to mail a letter. And on line 1 he states, "It is a cold and snowy night. The main street is deserted." Cold can mean darkness, death, and deserted can mean loneliness. So it gives it kind of a negative connotation. But at the end, he says, "There is privacy I love in this snowy night." And so it doesn't mean he necessarily doesn't like it. And an anecdote can also be an example of imagery. An example of the book is a personal remembrance or brief history. And my example would be from Wallace Stevens' poem Anecdote of a Jar on page 725. And the speaker is just telling a brief history about a jar. And you can tell it's an anecdote because throughout the whole poem it uses past tense. And for example, on line 1, he states, "I've placed the jar in Tennessee." And also on line 10, he says, "The jar was gray and bare." So throughout the whole entire poem, he's using past tense to represent this jar. And it also says anecdote of the jar. And that would be all for this chapter.